Knees and toes.
The shoulders have to do with anything?
Because of what you did to my bold prediction. Yes, I'm taking this too far, but I don't care.
We're
going.
The noise is great for those who are audio only.
What's up, everyone, and welcome into the Buffalo Sports Collective. It is Friday, January 9th, 2025. As always, I am PK alongside my co-host, Phil. Episode 403, is that correct? Is that correct, Phil? Let me pull it up. I'm pretty sure I changed the number, but 403 sounds like it wasn't enough. Let's see here. Pulling it up.
404 is a big difference. So.
Yeah, it is 403.
All right.
403, episode 403. I was on point. Shouldn't have doubted myself. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. Don't forget to follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at buffalosportscollective.com and look for the time breakdowns in the description of the show. This past week in review. Phil's article came out on Tuesday breaking down Bandits versus Desert Dogs. Wrapped that series up by reading his article Wednesday. We had an interview with Brendan McDaniels from the KHawks. I'll get the pleasure of seeing him once again on Saturday when I am in the press box out in Rochester. Thursday, NLL Power Rankings and BSC Pick'em. The people sided more with you this week, Phil. Stay tuned. Today, we got Bills' confidence level versus the Jaguars. Sabres are playing as we're recording right now, but they rebounded and in a very nicely played way. Bandits versus KHawks preview, and then NLL Week 7, but we'll dive into the Bills first. Phil, what is your confidence level on a scale of 1 to 10 going into Sunday? We get a primetime game, PK's primetime game, I should start calling it, 1 o'clock. What is your confidence level, Bills versus Jags, and if the Bills can advance to the divisional round?
I would say I think I'm at like a 40%. I like a lot of me thinks like 70-30 Jags or 60-40 Jags. So not high. And I was trying to think, I wanted to go back and I forgot to go back to the last like first rounds recently of the Buffalo Bills, and like when have I felt this not like this uneasy. Like I know they've had some tough matchups in the first round, but most times I've still favored the Bills and thought like, oh, they can take it. And I do feel like if everything comes together perfectly and they hit every single thing on our checklist that we go over during their Bills victories, then they can win. I think they have the ability to win, but this is probably like the grossest I've felt about the Bills headed into a round one playoff game in a long time, which is, again, unfortunate. We've talked about it a lot with no Baltimore, no Cincinnati, no Kansas City. Like, this was the year to really take things over for the Bills and their big opportunity, and I feel not great about their round one matchup. So, don't love it, and I know you and I already talked about it on the previous show, maybe 2 shows ago before last Sunday, that we didn't really want the Jags, didn't really want to have to play them, weren't the worst case scenario, but with their run defense, not a good scenario, because if they can stop Cook, I'm very concerned about the offense and how it can move. Also, their kicker is just bombing 67 yards like it's nothing, so you're going to have to be up by 4 at the end of the game, or else there's a good chance they can tie or win from like the 50. So I don't know. It's not a good feeling. If they lose, I would not be shocked at all. If they win, I'd probably be more, maybe not shocked, but at least pleasantly surprised than I am confident going into this game.
I'll put mine at 33%. I
so
just
right in
have,
between 70, 30, 60, 40.
Yeah, just have a very uneasy feeling about this matchup. Not because it's the Jags, but just because I want to say going into the season, it was your bold prediction that they weren't going to make the playoff, or weren't going to make the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
And I think I doubled down and said I think they're feeling like a one and done type of team in the playoffs. That might not have been a bold prediction, but I think early on in the season that's how it kind of felt. The last time we saw this offense was not last week. Last week was versus the Jets. They quit on their coach, and it was against a bunch of was with a bunch of backups. It was when they didn't score for 55 minutes versus the Philadelphia Eagles, who, yes, have a very good defense, But the Jaguars have a very good defense as well. I am afraid that the Jags are just going to have to score 21 points to win this thing. Like, I really feel like we went over the checklist like you mentioned multiple times. You can't commit turnovers. You have to get a couple turnovers on defense. You got to be able to. Josh Allen has to play perfect. The defense has to get a couple stops. Wide receivers have to slowly get open. The tight ends have to be healthy. And you saw the injury list going into Thursday. It's long. There's a lot of players. You're hoping that Prater can get through the warm-ups even on Sunday, just to get through the warm-ups. And I was saying the warmer weather might be helpful. I am not predicting them to win. I am predicting them to lose like 21-17. I still think it's going to be a closer battle. I do not expect Buffalo to get the doors blown off. I do not expect them to blow the doors off of the Jaguars. But I'm looking at the two teams. Unless Josh Allen has a phenomenal game or Cook figures out this run defense, I just don't see a way Buffalo can win. They don't have enough talent on the offensive side of the ball, and their defense is shaky at best. And yes, the last time we saw this defense, they gave up 8 points to the Jets. And yes, last time we saw them for real, they gave up 13 to Philadelphia. But Philly also stunk in that whole second half, and it wasn't just because of the defense. I just have very little confidence in this team to put up the points needed and to stop the Jaguars' offense when they need to, because Jacoby Myers, who you probably should have traded for, probably going to kick your butt. ETN, who is having a right bounce back game or bounce back season, could run all over you. Trevor Lawrence is having a phenomenal second half of the season. And then you've still got Brian Thomas out there that, yes, can drop the ball, but he's still a really good wide receiver. You got Brenton Strange, and then you got that whole defensive line. I think 33% is like the highest I can go on my confidence level for Sunday. But I love that it's 1 o'clock because we get it out of the way early.
Yeah, and again, with all that being said, like if they do win, it wouldn't be.
I'm happy to be proven wrong.
Right. It wouldn't be like the most
happy.
mind-blowing thing we've ever heard. Like like you said, we don't think they're going to get blown out, and I would agree. I think it's going to be a close game. It could come down to the end. It could come down to one of the 19 million fourth quarter comebacks that the Bills have been able to pull off this season. Josh Allen playing hero ball and figuring it out and running crazy, and it could happen. At the same time, the Jags could just play a great game. The Bills have 1 or 2 miscues, and that's it, and it's over. And there's always next year. I was thinking, so I thought this the other day. This isn't going to happen, but we'll throw a hypothetical out here for fun. So again, this is purely hypothetical land because it'll never happen. But in one, you have scenario A, all right? The Bills get blown out in round 1. McDermott, Bean, Brady are all gone next season. Scenario B, they not only win, they get to the AFC Championship. You don't know if they're going to win that game or not. They get to the championship, and they are 1 win away from the Super Bowl. If you had an option of which scenario you would like, which scenario would you go with?
Do I get to know who they're playing in the AFC Championship?
Sure. Whoever you want them to be playing in the AFC Championship.
They're facing the Chargers.
Sure.
At home. With the chance to go to the Super Bowl. I feel like I would take the AFC Championship. Like, okay. I have to. Like, because I'm not picking them to get out of the first round. So if they make it to the AFC Championship, something went really well in round 1 and 2 that's giving me probably false hope that they can get to the Super Bowl. Like, I as much as I dislike Joe Brady, and as much as I am not a fan or not a believer that Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane can get the job done. I've been on record that for close to 2 years now. I would take being wrong with them being in the AFC Championship against this collection of teams, unless it's Houston, but I don't think it can be Houston, to be honest, unless Pittsburgh upsets them, or Houston, whatever. I don't think it would be Houston in the AFC Championship. I think it's probably going to be Houston in round 2. But that would mean Houston's gone. That means maybe you're facing New England with a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Maybe you're facing Denver with a chance to go to the Super Bowl. None of these teams scare me, except for Houston. But I also can see a world where every one of these teams can beat the Bills. Like prior years, I couldn't imagine like a Pittsburgh. I guess Pittsburgh's one, except you can't lose to Pittsburgh. But like the Chargers, I can't. I can see a world where Buffalo beats the Chargers. I can see a world where Chargers beat the Bills. But roundabout way, I will take the chance to go to the Super Bowl because even in make-believe hypothetical land, I still can't see a day, even though the national media is saying that if they won and done in the first round, Sean McDermott's out. I don't think national media speaks for what's actually going on. They're just talking heads behind a microphone like we are, but we don't go on national stages and say like, if the Rams, if Sean McVay doesn't get out of the first round, they're going to fire him. No, because we don't know enough about the Rams to be going on that. We'll give our opinions that he probably should be fired, but we're not going to go on a talking platform and say he's going to get fired. Like it's not going to happen. But yeah, I'll take the AFC Championship. What would you do?
I think
Phil's the opposite.
I think I am. It'd be really hard to give up a chance to go to the Super Bowl, but like you said, this team I don't have a ton of confidence in, so even if they made it to the championship, I could see them losing that game. And would they win the Super Bowl? I don't know. And I think I am just ready for something new in Buffalo and to stop wasting Allen's career.
He's already 29. He's already 29.
Yeah. I mean, they've already wasted a good amount of it, and I feel like if they continue
you don't think
on this
Brandon
path,
Cooks and Josh Palmer and Keon Coleman and
exactly.
Gabe Davis is good enough collection of like what is wrong with you?
I don't.
They put up 30 points a game last year, Phil. Aren't they? Isn't this good enough?
They sure did. But yeah, I don't know. I think I would almost want to start with a new coaching, new GM, new everything. There's something like I feel like there's just so much unlocked potential for this team, and right now it's locked with what they currently have going on. All
I will say is if they do lose on Sunday, the chances of them getting Mike McDaniels go way up. That's all I'm going to say. Joe Brady, get the heck out of here. Before we move on, Phil, real quick, who is your Super Bowl, not winner, I guess you can give me your winner, but your Super Bowl matchup based on the playoff teams right now?
So I was thinking about this. It would be like the grossest Super Bowl of all time, but Seattle and Houston have a decent shot of making the Super Bowl, and it would be like a 10-7 game, and it would be so
Wasn't
ugly.
there a Super Bowl recently? Was it New England versus...
Yeah, I think New England and someone recently was real low.
It was real gross.
Yeah. I could see Houston and Seattle have both proven they can beat all the top heavy hitters in the playoffs with their defenses, and I think it'd be disgusting, but I could see them doing it. I do think the Rams, though, to me, they're real hard to beat. I think the Rams are going to make it from the NFC. AFC,
that one's the tough one.
Yeah, we've talked about it this whole time now, even with the Bills, like anybody realistically other than Pittsburgh can come out of the AFC. Like no one's scary and everyone can beat everyone. I don't really know who's going to come out of the AFC. I mean, man, I can't even think to predict it.
My pick is Rams versus New England, and the Rams come out victorious.
Man, New England making it to a Super Bowl before the Bills after all of this would be disgusting.
Just what's going to happen. I mean, any of these teams. I mean, you got C.J. Stroud making it before Josh Allen. Herbert. Yeah, you got Trevor Lawrence making it before. Yeah, Bo Nix. Like any team that's out there right now that would make it over the Josh Allen. And I know Josh Allen in the playoffs, most of those losses besides the Cincinnati one were not on him. I completely understand that. But it's just the fact that you could have Bo Nix, Drake May, Trevor Lawrence, C.J. Stroud, Aaron frickin' Rodgers, or Justin Herbert make it before Josh Allen does, gives me the stomach aches. Like,
yeah. And again, if that's not a wake-up call that something's wrong in your organization, I don't know what is.
Oh, there will not be a wake-up call.
No, there won't. There won't. They'll run it back with the zero cap space that they have compared to these other teams that have 40 and 50 million and are sitting at the top of the standings. It's
Like the Patriots?
It's gonna that's one of them. That is one of them. It's gonna be scary. Anyway,
But we'll break that game
I
down.
will pick. Oof. Man, I want to say Jacksonville, but then there goes the Bills.
Well, you only gave them 40% chance anyway. So.
That's
and
true.
you
We'll
want
go
the
Rams
whole
and
organization
Jacksonville. Why
fired
not?
in the moon.
True. Rams and Jacksonville. Sure.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Oh, he takes a sip of water quickly. We'll go over the playoff game, good or bad, on the next episode. Sabres, we saw what we wanted to see from this team. The winning streak ended in ugly fashion, and then they bounced back Tuesday against one of the worst teams in the NHL in Vancouver. They made it a little interesting at the end. But, they came out victorious. They were up, 4-0 going into the third, and then Tage Thompson had that 4-minute minor, and double minor, I should call it.
Yes.
That's still a stupid rule in the NHL. If you bleed, you get an extra 2 minutes. It's stupid. They got to get rid of that. Because it could hurt worse than just not bleed.
Right.
Like,
you could
it's
have
so
a broken leg. Like, what?
Yeah.
He's not bleeding.
He's not bleeding. The leg's sticking through. I don't see any blood.
He got stretchered off in a concussion, but he's not bleeding. He's not bleeding. He's all right.
But, yeah, they hung on. They battled late. The UPL looked really good again. Tage Thompson's still playing like an absolute animal. Like, where has this been your entire career? Like, why is it just coming on now? McLeod had another shorthanded goal. Tuck. Metza gets his first one. Doan with the 200-foot empty netter. But I thought what we wanted to see from this team, we got. Now they're playing right now versus the Rangers. We'll see if they can stack wins here. But they ended the losing streak right then and there at 1, and they bounced back in a big way, beating a team that you're supposed to beat. Now, the Rangers are a team that you're competing with for a playoff spot. That's another one you got to win. You got to beat the Ducks on Saturday. Stack a few more wins here, and then, maybe I'm into step 2 of the pool. But right now I'm still on step 1. But I'm thinking about, I'm acclimated to the temperature of the pool right now. Like, it's right at my shins. I'm ready to get to the knees, Phil. Like, that's the next big step when you're getting into a pool is,
True.
Okay, the knees need to be the next one. Then it's the midsection, and then
the midsection's arguably
that's
the
the
biggest.
toughest. That is the toughest, and that's why I'm probably going to be at step number 2 for a while because the temperature's changing. I might be a little chilly up top, but I'm comfortable right where the water is right now. So depending on what happens this weekend between the Rangers, which everybody listening to this will already know the results before we do, and the Ducks, if you get back to a 3-game winning streak, you might be seeing me on step number 2 of the pool next episode.
Yeah, a few things. One, UPL's bounce back was massive.
Yes.
He played real bad the game before in their loss, but him coming back the way he did was really, really big. Their power play, new GM. We've talked about this already. You got to do something about this power play. Do something. I'm about to throw my shirt on that says do something. I don't know what they need to do. We talked about it in the offseason. That was my bold prediction that this team has the pieces to have a good power play and that they should be, top 10 in the league. And their 5-on-5 scoring is there. Like, clearly they have the talent to score, but when it's easier, they have no idea how to score. It doesn't really make much sense right now. They're 21st in the NHL in power play. If you want to be a strong contender and a playoff team, that has to be much higher. It doesn't have to be top 5, top 3, top 1, anything like that, but you got to be top 15. You hope to be top 10. It just got to be better. But like you said, this next stretch of games, Rangers, Ducks, Florida, who's currently behind you, that's going to be a massive one. Philly, currently I think they're right above Buffalo right now. So that's a team you're chasing. And then Montreal a little bit ahead, but still a team you're chasing. So this next group of games, all the games from here on out are big, but this next group is a lot of teams you're contending with for playoff position. So it's going to be a big stretch, and like you said, we'll see how they do with it.
Sabres are currently up 1-0 off a goal from Josh Doan. Great play by Matthias Samuelsson for his 15th assist of the year.
Samuelsson, wow. I
He's
know
been
you already gave him his flowers, and you already took your words back because you were proven wrong. But yeah, he's had.
I didn't take my words back. I was correct with what I was saying then, but I apologize for saying that I would ship him out for a bag of pucks, and those pucks could be used, chopped in half, and also apologizing for saying I would also buy him out. He has been playing unbelievable. He's been one of the best players on the ice for the Buffalo Sabres this season. And I will just say, even at his best, I never thought that he would have 15 assists in a season.
Right.
He's
I think
playing
like this
unbelievable.
is, yeah, I don't think anyone saw this coming. Even like you said, like even if he's playing solid as what his ceiling could be, I think he's already like passed it this year for what anybody would have expected out of him. So it's really impressive to see. And even Byram has really come on with his offensive game, and he's looked really confident in what he's been able to do. So a lot of pieces. But Samuelson, I think, is the big one that, like you said, kind of left for dead, playing really poorly for a long time, and just finally breaking out and having a monster season.
So hopefully next time we talk about the Buffalo Sabres, they're on a 3-game winning streak. We'll move on to preview Bandits versus Nighthawks. Buffalo's coming in 1-3, Rochester 2-1. Buffalo's on a 2-game winning streak. Rochester's on a 1-game losing streak. Rochester's first in the league in goals at 14.33. Buffalo's third at 12.75. Again, smaller sample sizes, but we're getting a little bit bigger of a sample size moving forward here. Goals against, Buffalo's tied for 5th at 10, which is still insane. Rochester goals against, tied for 9th at 12. Power play, very small sample size for the Buffalo Bandits, who were 0 for over on the last game. Second in the league, 60%, 6 for 10. Rochester's 53, 5th at 9 for 17. Penalty kill. Vast difference here. This is where you can make up some big difference here. Buffalo power penalty kill 73%, third in the league, 11 for 15, and Rochester's penalty kill is 39%, 13th in the league, tied for last, 5 for 13. Phil, I expect some goals to be scored on Saturday night.
Yeah, this is going to be this is one of those games that I just don't know how it would be a defensive battle. Both goalies have the ability to stand on their heads and play lights out, but I just don't see it happening in this game. I mean, we have a little bit of banged up Buffalo defense against one of the best offenses in the league, and then you have a Rochester defense that has proven that they're not the best lockdown defense against one of the best offenses in the league. Again, on both sides. So I don't see how this isn't a very high flying, high scoring type of game. And like you just mentioned, assuming Buffalo doesn't go 0 for 0 in the power play area, I mean, special teams could be a pretty big part of it, with Rochester's penalty kill looking real rough. And even last game, Colorado went 4 for 4 against Rochester, and that's a big part of why they won that game for Colorado. So that could be a really, really big focal point of this game. Any chance you can get in a game like this that's going to be high scoring, any little opportunity could end up being massive.
So the newest stat that we brought up last week, we'll bring up here again. Buffalo's third in the league with 54.75 shots per game. Rochester's 5th at 52.67. But this is the other massive difference here. Shots allowed. Buffalo is still far and away the number one team at 43.75. Las Vegas was the first team to put up more than 43 shots on net. Rochester's down at 13th, 53.33. They're giving up a ton of shots on net, and yes, I understand. I believe it was the San Diego game where they faced them. I think they faced San Diego in week 1 for Rochester. They put up like 60-some-odd shots. So the number's inflated because of that, but this backs up the statement, and the games from last year, who we'll talk about, brings up the statement that the shots are going to be flowing. And I think the biggest thing and one of the keys to this team, and which we'll go into it in a second, you got to limit the secondary chances for Rochester. Last year, when we'll go over these games in just a second, but last year, there were so many secondary chances for Rochester that they just weren't able to capitalize on. If you give this team, who just got better offensively this season, that many more opportunities, and the shots against are up and over 50, which I highly expect it's going to be, I think you got to keep them right around 48 to 52 shots on net, and I think you stand yourself a really good chance of walking out victorious. I'm just skeptical if they're going to be able to do it with the situation they're in right now. But we'll go over last year's games. Game 1, the first game for Buffalo, I believe it was the second game for Rochester. Buffalo won 15-7. Shots on goal, 61-60 in favor of Buffalo. Face-offs 16-10, but both teams were 0 for on the power play. Buffalo 0 for 5, Rochester 0 for 4. It was 1-0 after 1, 4-1 at half, 7-6 Buffalo after 3, and Buffalo won the fourth, going 8-1. And then game 2, a couple weeks later in Buffalo, they won again 13-6. They were outshot 68-58 by Rochester. It was 15-8 in favor of Buffalo in the faceoff dot. 2 for 5 on the power play for Rochester, 2 for 6 on the power play for Buffalo. They got out to another big start, 2-0 after 1, 7-3 at half, and 11-4 after 3. In total, Matt Vince went absolutely nuclear. 115 saves out of 128 opportunities. You had no Kluch in game 2, no Scanlon in game 1. Nanticoke had 5 goals. McKay had 3. You had Byrne go 4-12-16 on 14 shots. Scanlon went 2-1-3 in his one game. Buchanan 4-3-7. Smith 5-14-9. But here are the numbers for Rochester. Are you ready for this one? Lanchbury was 2 for 18 shooting, but he had 9 loose balls. Fields, 4 for 29 shooting, but 24 loose balls. McConvey, 2 for 15, but 10 loose balls. You're getting a theme here. Waters, 0 for 10, but 3 loose balls. Smith, 1 for 23 shooting with 21 loose balls. The difference in this one was Matt Vince stood on his absolute head in both games, and the defense was giving up way too many shots and way too many secondary opportunities. They were just maybe the shots that they were giving up are the shots that Matt Vince wanted. But against a team like Rochester, last year, I don't see Ryan Smith going 1 for 23 shooting again. I don't see Connor Fields going 4 for 29. Yes, it did happen in both those games, but you're looking at it this year, like, what are the chances that it happens again for a third straight game? To me, that's the outlier in this one. Is last year, you dominated both games, but you gave up way too many shots and way too many second opportunities, and Rochester Stars just weren't stars in both those games.
Yeah, I mean, that is the thing with the way they play defense in those games, though, is exactly what you mentioned. Is I do wonder how much of it was allowing Matt Vince to have those shots that he wants to see, and because last year they played a lot of keep them to the outside, do not allow them inside kind of defense throughout the whole year, and Vince did a really, really good job with, allowing the outside shots to be seen and save them and move on. And like you said, I think the problem with that kind of style is that it does allow that many more shots, because if you're shooting from the outside, you have the rebounds are often bigger and you're allowed to crash in. You can see where the ball ends up. If the whole team's inside, there's a shot, especially if it's in close, the rebounds kind of could go anywhere. But if most of the team's pushed to the outside, you take a shot, you can see, most of the team can see where that rebound's going and then attack it from there. I think that's why they ended up with so many loose balls and second opportunities. I think Fields ended up with one of the highest loose balls as a player in general last year. So he's just a loose ball machine, always has been. So he's someone you absolutely have to keep an eye on when it goes to loose balls.
148 loose balls last year.
Yeah, he was really, really good as a offensive player and a player in general with the loose balls. So it is something they're going to have to keep an eye on, is the secondary opportunities for sure. But if they can continue to force them to the outside, like you said, how much can you contain it? Fields has a great outside shot. Smith has a great outside shot. McConvey, I think, is someone who likes to go inside. Lanchbury's a little bit of both, but I mean, having those two outside weapons in Fields and Smith, it's not something I would really like to continue to test with that many shots. But if Vince is seeing it and that's what he wants, I mean, I could see them running back that game plan because it worked twice last year. And I mean, yes, there's a big difference in Zed Williams on the field now to open up some inside lanes, but if the Bandits can find a way to shut that down, which with the injuries we'll go over, good luck with that. But if they can find a way to keep them to the outside, I could see them, because it worked so well last year and it is a pretty similar roster construction, trying to force that again, at least maybe in the first half, and see how it works and then adjust if you need to.
So Rochester does look a bit different. Austin Hazen, Turner Evans, and Curtis Knight are all out. They're also out there on the free agent market if anybody wants them. In Zed Williams and Jeremy Thompson. But before we dive into what the makeup of their team actually looks like and our thoughts on the upcoming game, let's dive into our sponsor of this episode, Tap That Tap Room.
Tap That Tap Room's at 363 Delaware Street in Tonawanda, New York. They are Buffalo's first women-owned self-pour bar, featuring 30 consistently rotating taps, offering a wide variety of beers, cider, sour, seltzers, and malt beverages.
They're going to be rotating a ton. Friday night, 5 to 7 is happy hour. Get down, check out the rotating specials, and find your new favorite. Come back Saturday, because that is the Bandits watch party, and it's an away game. Yes, it's closer away, but if you're not willing to travel to Rochester like I am, go to the next best place to watch the game, which is Tap That Tap Room. Sounds on, so you can listen along, listen to the broadcasters. Maybe you'll hear PK yell from down the aisle. You probably won't. But play along. Play along. Join in on the Bandits fun with all the other Bandits fans that are down there listening and cheering on the team at Tap That Tap Room. It is the best watch party in the world to watch the Buffalo Bandits. Then Sunday, 1 p.m., even though Phil and I do not expect Buffalo to win, come down and cheer on the Bills with this watch party. Starting at 1 o'clock, it may be their last watch party of the season. Come down, support Tap That Tap Room. They are the best watch party for all of Buffalo sports. Anywhere, you will not find a better place, because most places, you're going down there and you're just, there might be somebody down there that's just there to meet somebody and, drink at the bar. This is the place you know what you're there for, and everybody else knows what you're there for. If you're there Saturday night, everybody there knows it's to watch the Bandits. So nobody's going to be coming in, hey, can you turn on the hockey game? No, it's the Bandits watch party. So it's going to be on all TVs. So head down to Tap That Tap Room. It's the best place to watch sports. To find out what else they got coming up, check out their Facebook page. To find out what's on tap and what's on deck, check out tapthattaproom.com/Phil for Rochester. Lefties look like such. Connor Fields, remember him? Former Buffalo Bandit. Everybody's still mad that he went to Rochester, lit it up, because he could have been doing here in Buffalo. Graydon Hogue, former 15th overall pick in 2023. Thomas McConvey, former number 1 overall pick in 2022. And Brad McCulley round out the lefties. It'll either be Hogue or McCulley in the lineup for the third lefty. For the righties, though, you got Ryan Lanchbury, former 2nd overall pick in 2021. Ryan Smith, former 3rd overall pick in 2022. Kyle Waters, former 6th overall pick in 2021. And Zed Williams rounding out the forward group. That will be the 4 righties. Phil, John Gertler was on WGR 550 on Thursday. He broke the news that we were both expecting. I think we both kind of saw this coming, but no Mitch DeSnew. No Zach Belter in this one. That leaves on the left side as defensemen just Ron John, Thomas Whitty, and Cam Wires. Yes, it's a possibility that they're going to be putting Ian McKay back there, but I think that comes down to, is Ryan Benesh healthy enough to go back into this lineup? We heard it was a back issue, a lower back issue. That one's a hard word.
What is an issue?
It will be interesting. He also mentioned that Coltrane Tyson and Matt Spanger are both playing, but he does not expect them to be back in. It would be nice if Tyson came back in because he's left-handed, but I think you're going to be going into this game with just 3 lefties, and you're hoping that Ryan Benesh is back. That way you can push Ian McKay on the back end, because I went over those 4 righties. I mean, in Lanchbury, Smith, Waters, and Zed Williams, you do not want to be throwing out just the 3 guys. And I know that you can throw over some righties to defend righties. I get that. But it's not ideal to be down Mitch DeSnew and Zach Belter, your 2 best defensive left-handed defenseman back there, especially against some of the best right-handed forwards, a collection of right-handed forwards in this league. I am very nervous, and this is a big reason why I'm super nervous about this game, is the matchup between the lefty defenders for Buffalo and the righty forwards for Rochester.
And even if you and I talked about this a lot already, if Benesh is back, which you better hope he is, because I think McKay's going to need to be on defense for this game, or else you're in a lot of trouble. But even if he is, that obviously cripples your offense quite a bit. Yes. McKay's been a huge part, just put up, 7 points, I think, and 3 straight goals. So, I mean, he's just getting going these last 2 games. I think he has 11 points in 2 games. So he's getting moving on offense. And if you put him on defense because of injuries, I don't see any other way around it with the lefties they currently have to throw back there. And yes, you can split shift him where he's on defense for some, on offense for some, so you're not completely losing him, but it's still going to affect things. And this isn't a shot at Benesh. Not trying to say that he, can't provide some offensive spark himself, but he's if he does come back, I think you have to expect that he's going to be a little bit banged up, and he really hasn't had a chance yet, in my opinion, to fit into this offense. I think he's had an insane amount of really, really great chances and just hasn't played enough to dial those in. He's hit, I don't know, 16, 17 posts. He's always in the right spot. He's always on those quick stick backdoors, sneaking around. Like, he seems like he's in the right spots, doing the right things, but he just hasn't had enough time playing to kind of get that going. Probably didn't play much over the summer kind of thing. Very similar to Buchanan. I think he's going to be great later in the season. I'm not worried about Benesh, but just injecting him back into this offense, if he's banged up, you can't expect him to go out there and put up 3 goals and 4 assists like McKay just did last game. And I don't think you can expect that from McKay if he's double shifting on offense and defense. And like you said, yes, you can put some righties over there, but then there's a reason righties are against lefties and lefties are against righties on defense, because that's the way the sticks match up and it works better. If you switch them over there, it gives an advantage still to the righty offense against a righty defender. Like, yes, they can do it, but it's not ideal. So it's a rough situation going into a game against arguably the league's best and deepest offense. It's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. And like you kind of put in your notes, you're going to be asking a lot of Matt Vince. And I think he knows that already. And he's probably going to come with a little bit of a, I have to save this game kind of attitude. But he's going to need to be on his absolute A game.
Yeah, I think Matt Vince is going to be the X factor in this one. If he plays out of his mind, I think Buffalo wins this one. If he's just average, kind of like what we've seen this season so far, and again, that's not a shot at Matt Vince. Don't come for me. It's just I expect Matt Vince to be in peak Matt Vince form in February, March, and April, and then into May. I wouldn't expect Matt Vince to be in peak Matt Vince form in early January. So I'm just a little hesitant, although we saw what we saw in December with Matt Vince last year. So we know he can do it. We've seen him do it for 20 freaking years. He's been goalie of the year for so many times. He's been on this team for 5 straight championships, or championship runs with 3 straight championships. So I know it's in him. I am just a little worried based on such inexperience on the back end with players that are going to be asked to pick up bigger roles. Like Cam Ware is going to be asked to be your number 1. Whitty's going to be asked to be your number 2, and Ron John's going to be asked to be your number 3. I don't like that going against Lanchbury, Smith, Williams, and Waters. I'm not looking forward to that matchup.
Like, I know we've already picked on him a ton last game, but Whitty's got to have like a complete 180.
Yeah, he's got to have a big bounce back game.
Last week he was horrible, and we've liked him in the past. He's very streaky. He has like a kind of rough game, and then has a really, really good game here and there.
So maybe it's the every other.
Right. Maybe
he's
getting the bad game out, so this is a good game, and maybe it will be different going into practice, knowing those guys aren't there, so you're playing a little bit of a different role. So maybe with a practice under his belt as a true lefty defenseman, not a rotational guy, maybe it'll be a little bit different, but he's going to need to play some extremely good lockdown defense. And last game, he looked very lost and confused in the communication. Priola mentioned it on his podcast that their communication was a bit rough all over the place. And
so we were right.
Yes. It sounded like
that's one reason I love Steve Priola and his podcast, is because inadvertently he gives us shout outs all the time, because everything that he says is stuff that we had just said. So thank you, Steve. Thank you.
Most of the time I'm listening to that podcast, I'm like, okay, so we were right in what we were seeing. That's fantastic. And that's one of them. He said their communication was a little bit off, and like you just said, like Vince can play out of his mind, but if the communication's not there and these very talented forwards are getting really great looks, there's only so much he can do. Like, if they're getting looks similar to what Vegas was at the end of the game last time, you know, he can make a few massive saves here and there like he did in that Vegas game at the very end. But, I mean, some are going to get through, and it could be a lot.
Yeah, my only... So here's how I think the roster is going to look. I think Desnu and Belter are going to be put on the IR. I'm hoping that Ryan Benesh gets activated, because if he doesn't, you're gonna have to go with the 3 lefty defensemen. Ian McKay's gonna have to play forward, because you can't just roll out 2 lefty forwards, which means Taylor Dooley and Carter Coffey are gonna be your call-ups, which don't help the back end because they're 2 righties. Which means maybe just I don't. Because I was going to say maybe you throw Mike Triolo back on defense, but that's another righty. Like, they're so short-staffed, and we went into the season worried about them being short-staffed, and that was because they didn't have Mitch DeSnew. They got Mitch DeSnew, and we're like, okay, they're right at their peak. But if anybody gets injured, they're back to us being worried. You lost your two. Now
and the
we're
other
back
thing
to
is,
being
like you've already mentioned, you lost Tyson as well. Like, he was the extreme backup. Like, he was your... Okay, if
this is the ripcord when the first one don't work.
Right. This was okay. Well, at least you got Tyson, and now you're done all three of your.
You're free falling right now, and you're just hoping somebody above you can come down and catch you and pull their chute. But I think the only other thing here,
be Josh Byrne and Dane Smith putting up 6 goals each.
I think the only other thing here is you need to be disciplined on the back end, and that's going to be tough when they're going to be tired on the back end there. And you're going to have guys that are working out of position. You're going to be having the lack of communication back there because this new guy's back there. So the communication has to be on point. Your discipline's got to be on point. You can't be taking silly penalties because Rochester, you can't give them more opportunities there, and you can't give them secondary chances. You can't ask Mac Vince to be facing 68 shots like he did last year. Like, it needs to be clean, one possession balls back there and one possession shifts back there. Get the stop, make the save, get off the field. Like, it has to be that. And the maybe you got to take some extra shifts and put Josh Byrne on the back end or Clay Scanlon, give some opportunities back there. And I know they're going to be tired on the forward group, but if they're dead on the back end, it doesn't really matter because you're not going to be able to stop the ball. So I think that's the number one key. And the only other thing I'll mention here, please, if you're watching the game either on TV or in person, every goal that doesn't go in or that goes in, please don't just blame Matt Vince. Like, it's not just going to be on him. It's going to be what we're explaining here. That's why it's important to listen to our podcast. Extra plug for us there. But move on to transition here. Transition and defense. It's the same cast of characters on the back end. They just added Jeremy Thompson. Rylan Reese will not be playing. I believe Brendan McDaniel said that he's still a bit of time away. He's not ready yet. I believe he said it's a lower body. Chad Tutton's still back there. You still got Jeremy Thompson at the faceoff dot. He's winning just 27% this season. So Connor Farrell, this is your game. Get the ball to the offense. This is when Fogos matter. When you're going against a guy who's struggling big time, you need to be up in the over 60% this game. Like, if you're not up on over 60, something needs to be happening. Josh Medeiros, who we really wanted. Ian Lord's back for another season. Taylor Jensen is somebody that I talked about. Matt Gilray's still there. Brad Gillies. The list goes on and on about who is on the back end. It goes down to, okay, we kind of mentioned this a bit, the 7-forward setup. I believe that's what needs to happen, especially with the back injuries. You can't be rolling out 8 forwards. Like, if Mike Triolo, Lucas Nielsen, and Benny are all available, you need to be going Benny to push Ian McKay on the back end. It has to happen. Like, it has to. You cannot have any other situation here. McKay has to go out the back door if Benesh is healthy. If Benesh is not healthy, I don't know what they do. Like, I really don't know what they would do on the forward group. You need secondary scoring with this offense because you can't just going to have to rely on Dane Smith and Josh Byrne. I honestly think that this offense is going to have to put up 14 goals to have a shot at winning this one, unless Matt Vince is in, like, superhuman playoff mode Matt Vince. Like, I think that's the only way they win is either Matt Vince goes absolutely nuclear on the back end, or this offense puts up 14, 15, 16 goals just because of the situation. It's not a shot at the guys that are out there on defense. It's just you're losing your 2 best defensemen back there, and you're going against the forward group of Rochester. So I'm very... This is going to be a very interesting game to watch, and I'm happy I'm in the press box and not going to have to be emotional about it.
If Benny's, sorry, I'm just trying to do math and nonsense in my head. This is kind of a fun exercise to figure out what's going on. But if Benny's out, and part of this is it's so early in the season, the Bandits are 3-1. Like, you don't want to push. Like, this game isn't playoffs. This isn't the end all be all. Like, if they lose, It's not the end of the world. You're not going to push a veteran like Benesh back early to hurt his back long term. Yes. Like, if he's not 100%, and like, I'm sure he wants to go out there, but if he's not good, there's no reason to rush him. If you lose this game, it's okay. But we'll say he can't go. Would you go? Is it possible they go 8 forwards to have McKay split shift and do a very heavy right and constantly have 3 righties on the field, 2 lefties, and just be very right offense dominated to allow McKay to split shift more often and be half defense, half offense.
I think you can try it. It would just be Josh Byrne and Clay Scanlon. Hopefully they've done a lot of conditioning work, because you're going to be out there almost every single shift. Because even if McKay is double shifting on the back end and the forward group, that's still only
he's
one
out there
shift.
the whole time.
Yeah, it's going to be Byrne every other shift. It's going to be Scanlon every other shift, and McKay's going to be out there all the time. So it's not ideal.
Not
and
ideal.
unless Dietrich is working some magic here on Friday, I feel like Benesh has to be back. Like, otherwise I think you're going to have to roll out the 3 lefty defensemen. I believe they did that in week 1 anyways, but one of your defensemen was Mitch DeSnew, because I believe that was the game that they scratched Thomas Whitty, and we were like, okay, they're going 8 forwards here. So they've done it in the past. They've just never done it with this 3 group of lefty defensemen. So it's going to be interesting what they do. I'm very intrigued with what their plan is. But we'll go over the goalie matchup here, and in net is going to be Rylan Hartley. They're going to go back to him. I know he got pulled in the Colorado game, but he is playing at a goaltender of the year caliber pace. I mean, 10.75 goals against 81 save percentage. Rylan Hartley played 35 minutes, 12.05 goals against 70 save percentage. But we did put out a thing on Instagram and on Twitter asking if anybody has any questions or thoughts on these games. We're going to be starting doing that. So if you didn't know it was out there, I literally just put it out there at 4:00 on Thursday. So it's going to be out there every Wednesday night leading into our episode on Thursdays. If anybody wants to talk about it, any thoughts or questions upcoming game, get our opinions on it. But we're just 2 idiots. One of the questions did come in. How do the goalies match up with each other in this game? Was from one of the listeners' questions. I think, honestly, I would give the edge to Rylan Hartley in this one, just because of his performance so far, and based on he's got a full slate of healthy defenders in front of him. So I would give the edge to Hartley, but we have seen in the past, and we just saw it, we went over the 2 games prior to last year, Matt Vince can go nuclear of this team. He seems like he has, I'm not saying he has the playbook, but he knows where the book is on these shooters. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup. To me, I would give the edge to Hartley just based on performance so far this season.
But you can, I mean, it's possible the game that Colorado just had against Hartley can also collapse.
Yes.
He's been streaky at times where he plays out of his mind, has extremely good saves. He's a bit wild in a fun and entertaining way, but if he's off his game, he's off his game. He seems like he's either really, really on or pretty off. Like last game, 9 goals against, didn't make it to halftime, and they went with Hutchcraft the rest of the way. So, I mean, he can have those kind of collapses, and I don't think Vince...
That's very true.
Even when Vince plays not up to the all-star level we want him to, he's usually pretty steady. Like, even his bad games are oftentimes very steady games where in a very possibly high scoring
he does
game,
enough to give you the chance to win.
He can allow 13, but he's not going to allow 16, 17, 18, 19. Whereas Hartley, after the last game, if he has that kind of performance again where he's just that, for something is off about him, I don't know what it was last game, but he was off in that game. And if he has that kind of game again against this offense that knows they're going to have to put a lot of goals in to keep up with Rochester, you could see again, I mean, weird comparison to Vegas, but you could see a 15-13 victory in Buffalo's favor if Hartley's off. But like you're saying, if Hartley's on his A game and he's dialed in and he's in his, his mode, then he can hold the Bandits to closer to 9, 10, 11, and that might not be good enough against this Rochester team with the current setup of the Bandits defense.
So, prediction-wise, you went Buffalo and our BSC pick'em. The people went Buffalo at 91%. I went Rochester. But before we dive into our own predictions, we had Brendan McDaniels on the show, and I asked him who is the X factor for this offense and who needs to have a great game for them to come back victorious, and here's what he had to say.
I think Zed Williams needs to clear out the middle and allow the Rochester shooters to get in the middle and take some good lanes at Matt Vince. And I think that if they can do that, they can be successful. And the other thing that I mentioned is that Jeremy Thompson needs to have a big night. at the faceoff X. They need to get those extra possessions. And so if they can get Zed to clear the middle and guys like Fields and Smith and Lanchbury and McConvey and Waters and Hogue and all those guys or McCulley, whoever plays that extra lefty spot, if they can get those lanes to shoot, then they're going to be successful. And Zed Smith's going to be a major part of that off-ball movement of getting those open areas for those shooters to shoot.
So Brendan thinks that Jeremy Thompson, faceoff dot, and Zed Williams. Phil, what are your thoughts on the prediction of this game coming up Saturday night?
I do think that Zed could be a massive X factor in this game, especially we've talked
He has
about
proved it in the past
Yes.
that Buffalo can't hang with him.
And we've talked about it so many times already. That's pretty much what the whole episode is based around on accident. But this lefty defense not looking great for someone.
Justin Martin, where are you, buddy?
Yeah, I can.
Phillip Rivers did it.
And he's older than you by a lot. Yeah, I
Probably
can
got
see...
a kid your age.
He probably does. But yeah, Zed could clear that, hampered lefty defense right out and allow Smith and Lanchbury to just have a field day on that side. It's gonna be scary. I do have Buffalo winning. I do think very similar to what I just said. I think it's gonna be high scoring. I think it's gonna be close. It could come down to power plays or which goalie is just on their A game. But I'm going to go 14-12 Buffalo.
That's funny. We finally have a score predictions that's the same one, except I have it 14-12 loss. We've only predicted the same score three times. Three times.
Wild.
All three times they won. We were never right exactly with our score prediction. We've never had it where we picked the same score but different results. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if this means that they're going to lose. I don't know if the world's just going to end.
Yeah, it just
I have
ends
no
like
idea.
everything.
But
it's over.
Yeah, you have a 14-12 win. I have a 14-12 loss. It is now everybody's favorite time of the show. I should make some kind of music for this.
So less that you so many milestones were achieved that you get a little break.
It's such a nice, relaxing one this time. As long as I don't go over 10 seconds per read, I'm gonna crush this.
Yeah, you can play
fastest milestone
some
minute.
Smooth jazz for this one. Just kick it back.
Some little elevator music, just jam along with it. Fastest milestone minute. All of these possible milestones can be found on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. We post them leading up to each and every game. So if you miss one when I'm lightning quick, or you don't want to listen back, you can check for them there. Like I mentioned, there's 7 only. So I am very happy about this one. And a lot of them are very, very achievable, boys. Make these happen. I would like a week where I don't have any. Here we go. Mike Trillo is 2 points away from 100 for his career. He's still only 2 points away from his career. 2.09 a game. Josh Byrne is 4 assists away from 400 for his career. He averages 3.57 a game. Ian McKay is 2 assists away from 100 for his career. He averages 0.98 a game. Nick Weiss is 8 loose balls away from 1,000 for his career. He averages 5.98 a game. Dylan Robinson is 8 loose balls away from 200 for his career. He averages 4.27 a game. Connor Farrell is 3 loose balls away from 200 for his career. He averages 6.79 a game. And Josh Byrne is still just 1 cause away from tying David Brock for 10th place in Buffalo Bandits history. He averages 4.48 a game. I didn't do it this week, Phil.
You were pretty much at 30 seconds.
Boom. Killed it.
Yeah, you did great. Yeah, you're going to be saying that Triolo one for a long time, I think.
I think so. I'm almost wanting him to play, get 2 assists, and then just go back sitting out
right
again.
I would agree with that. Some of those are pretty wild, though. Byrne, 4 assists away.
The 1,000 loose balls, like Buchanan had it last year. I think Dane had it last year. We just had Paul Dawson go up and over it. Like, I believe there's another player that's super close to it as well. It's insane how many players are going to be up and over 1,000 loose balls, and I've read it on the show. It's insane.
It's a good number. It's a good number. Connor Farrell's about to pass Dylan Robinson pretty soon, so I'm sure he's feeling good.
One would
about
think,
that.
but I've this is the 3rd time I've had him on here, and he hasn't crossed that 200 mark.
Well, it's because he's just winning him to everybody else. He's not getting
fair.
him himself anymore. It's like, you get the ball, I'm good. I do think he's been, I know we talked about it, I put it in my article, we talked about it a little bit on the last episode. Like, he's had a really good start to the season. Hammer Jackson came into the last game, supposed to be one of the better, I'm not going to say it that way, is one of the better face-off guys out there. And Connor Farrell did a really, really good job against him. So this is one that I think favors him quite a bit, so he should dominate in this game. But this is one of those games that just because you need to go out there and do it. So we'll see what Farrell can do in this game. But he's had a really good start to the season.
Yeah, it reminds me of Georgia game 1 where he dominated that possession and the face-up dot. It should happen again this one. But we got 7 games to run through. We're close to an hour, so we're going to rapid fire this one. 5 Friday games, Phil. It's insane. 2-2 Halifax, 3-2 Ottawa. You took Halifax. I took Ottawa. The people took Halifax at 89%. What are you looking forward to in this game? It's game 1 of 2 this weekend for Halifax.
Yeah, also, big thing that we didn't mention, I had it in my head the whole time. Rochester plays back-to-back games this week
also
as well.
true.
I forgot to.
It's just Philly, though.
Yeah. But they're still
burger.
running. You're still running. Maybe jogging. You might be jogging in that game. But they do have to play back-to-back games that could favor Buffalo.
The toughest part about that is you got to go to Philly.
Yeah.
Like that's
that's unfortunate for
you're
that.
facing
And
the
then
Wings.
their home game's kind of like a road game. So they got to come back from Philly
That's true.
to Rochester. So it is a big talking point a little bit. I don't know about big, but it's a talking point that Rochester does have back-to-back games. So they might be a little bit tired. Could give Buffalo more of a level playing field than just a straight-up advantage for a home game for Rochester.
Could be a negative effector, though, because they're probably going to dominate Philly.
And just come in flying.
Just be like, that was a warm-up. We're ready now. Sorry, Philly. No, I'm not really.
DK is back to...
I'm just going to double down every week and just make it worse and worse for Philly.
But back to the run-through. Ottawa, Halifax. This game, to me, is honestly a really big one. I think it's a matter of which team is which. Halifax, I still consider one of the top teams in the league, but they just got beat twice by the Rush and have not looked as good. Their offense scares me quite a bit. That's just not where you want it to be. And Ottawa's had some, I'll say, surprise victories so far to start the season. So they're looking a little bit better. So I think in this game, it's Ottawa trying to prove that they're one of the top teams, and Halifax also trying to prove that they're one of the top teams and get back in the win column for themselves.
Halifax offense doesn't scare me. It disgusts me. Sorry, I'm just on a rant today. I guess last episode as well. They're averaging 9 goals a game, whereas to Ottawa, they're averaging 13 goals a game. Yeah, so I'm going to give edge to Ottawa. I do not see Halifax winning both games, and I do not see them losing to Oshawa. So that's the big reason why I picked Ottawa, just because I feel better about Ottawa's offense than I do about Halifax overall. And Halifax gets in so much trouble, and Ottawa can beat them on the power play. So that's how I feel about that one. Same time as that previous game, it is the 2-1 Rochester Nighthawks going to the 1-2 Philadelphia Wings. Phil took Rochester. I took Rochester. The people took Rochester at 95%. Suck it, Philly. The biggest thing I'm looking for this is just how does Ryland Hartley rebound in net versus a Philly team that he should be able to shut down? So if he's feeling good and rolling through it, makes me even more nervous moving into the following game. So I think everybody's expecting Rochester to just run out the door on Philly and just blow the doors off. But Philly's offense has looked better. I will give them credit. Brendan O'Neill is a legit weapon out there, but I think that's all they got, though. And Joe Rezateris, yes, he's out there. I think he's a very, very good player, but he's not a building stone. Brendan O'Neill is the only building stone that they have on the offensive side of the ball. I'm just destroying Philly, Phil.
Yeah, I mean, this one, like you said, it's more about, I mean, we cover the Buffalo Bandits. So to us, I think it's more about game 2. And this game's how Rochester looks against Philly. If I expect them to win, I don't think it'll be all that challenging for them. But if Philly can keep it close, and like you said, if Philly can put up a decent amount of goals, I'm saying, like, well, what do you want? Under
just
10?
wear
So
them
9?
down. That's all you need to do is just wear this team down.
Yeah, I mean, if they can put 9, 10, 11 goals and shake Hartley a little bit, headed into an even bigger game.
I accept 9.
Day,
I can't have more than 9.
that's what I thought. Okay, that's what I was saying. Yeah, so we'll say 9 goals, which is still, I feel like Hartley still wouldn't feel great about allowing Philly to get 9. So
yeah, what a 9 versus Philly, gross.
So if they can get to 9 and shake Hartley a little bit, I think it'll be a little bit better for Buffalo. Or he'll be really, really angry and just want to fight everybody against Buffalo. So that could also be a negative.
This bit that I got with Philly is going to get me killed if I ever go there. Friday, 9:30. It is
the matchup of all matchups.
It is going to be Dane Dobie night in the Loud House. I think that's what they call it, right, Phil?
No, that's Colorado.
Oh, Who cares? They're not that loud. 2-1 Vancouver, 1-3 Calgary. Calgary's off a big win versus San Diego. Rochester fresh off back-to-back bye weeks. You took Vancouver. I took Vancouver. People took Vancouver at 95%. I think this is going to be a game of homecoming for a lot of Vancouver players and kind of just going to try to push Calgary's nose in it a bit.
It says, come for the party, stay for the game. I don't know.
Well, it's Dane Dobie night, so I think that's part of it.
No, that's the primary slogan for the Calgary Roughnecks.
Oh.
Apparently.
I've come up with
according to AI, so I'm sorry if it's not, but
I'd come up with a new one.
Yeah, come for the party, stay for the game. So there you go. I'm pretty sure the Loud House is Colorado.
I think that sounds right.
I think this is just, I mean, it's obviously the big flip of teams, and everybody went to Vancouver, and Tyler Pace has to go up against his best buddies, see how he does. I'm sure he would love to put a sock trick up against Christian Del Bianco, and then they can talk about it on the podcast. Be great entertainment for everybody. I think Vancouver will be fine in this game, but Calgary's been, again, we've said it a lot. They've been a very tough out. They've had a very, very tough schedule, and they just beat San Diego. And I don't think they're going to win this game, but I think it could be a good game, and I think they could once again just be a tough out. It's a young team that's continuing to grow, and yeah, they're 1-3, doesn't look great, but I could easily see them staying in this game later than people expect them to.
Yeah, Aiden Walsh coming off his career game of his life, and
now he's going
Vancouver's offense. Vancouver's offense has been a bit shaky this season, but we'll move on. Friday, 10:30, 4-1 Saskatchewan goes to the 2-2 Desert Dogs. Phil took Saskatchewan. The people took Saskatchewan at 83%. I took Vegas. I smell an upset here. I think Saskatchewan coming off back-to-back games versus the Halifax Thunderbirds. They're looking for a new opponent. Caleb Kahn is the backup to Landon Kell, so you might see the start of a Caleb Kahn run here. I guess you would call it a run because Alex Bouquet is on the holdout, short-term holdout. It's something to do with work, I believe the Lush Mesh guy said. But I feel like this is the time where Vegas doesn't want to fall under 500, and they can get a win, a big-time statement win versus the 4-1 Saskatchewan Rush. I think this is more about it's a bigger game for Vegas than it is for Saskatchewan to me.
I would agree. But we saw last year that every single game, I know it's a stupid thing to say and pretty big cliche, but every game matters, and what it came down to in the standings between Buffalo and Saskatchewan came down to one game. So, I mean, you don't really want to give up any ground they're 4-1, Buffalo's 3-1, and there's plenty of other teams with only one loss because it's so early in the season. So it's a game that the Rush still really want to win. I am very interested to see. I know what we saw at the end of the game. I'm putting probably too much credit into Buffalo's defense, and Priolo, go listen to his podcast, keep stealing all of his content. He said that he wasn't very tired at the end of that game and that their communication was just rough, so they weren't using that as an excuse, but something broke down at the end of that game. And I'm interested to see if when Buffalo was up 14-7, if they figured something out against Vegas that other teams haven't solved yet, that the Rush can use that, look at that tape and figure out, okay, what was Buffalo doing so well against Vegas early in that game, all the way up until like 10 minutes left in the fourth, and use that to their advantage. So I'm interested to see if Vegas's offense can bounce back and be more consistent against a very tough defense and very tough goaltender. And I haven't been thrilled with the Saskatchewan offense, but the Bandits just lit them up. And I don't love the Vegas defense or their goaltending right now. I think Kell's got left out to dry way too much. So I think Saskatchewan could do enough on offense. I'm really more interested to see how the Vegas offense does against Saskatchewan's defense and goaltending.
Same time, 1-2 Toronto, coming off a bye, goes to the 1-2 San Diego Seals. You took Toronto. People took Toronto at 60%. I told you, everybody's agreeing with Phil this week. I took San Diego. I think this is a game. This is going to be a game that both of these teams look back on at the end of the season and go, okay, if we just had that one, maybe we would have snuck into the playoffs. I do not see a spot where both of these teams make the playoffs. So it's a big game well, like you were just saying with the head-to-head matchup, Toronto gets the edge. They get the edge over San Diego. San Diego gets the edge. They get the edge over Toronto. So it will be the biggest thing that I'm watching is Toronto's veteran offense. Can they show up versus a Chris O'Rig? Can he show up? It's going to be who. It's possible both don't show up. So we'll find out. But I think that's the biggest thing that I'm watching for in that one.
Yeah, to me, as much as I don't really love Toronto's team this year, especially after they just got torched recently. Their staple's been their defense and their goaltending.
Hasn't looked good.
They just got demolished by Vegas. So that doesn't feel as good. But Toronto, to me, is still the more established team in a weird way, even though their offense has looked a bit rough. But I talked about it last time, picking Calgary over San Diego. I just don't love what San Diego's been able to do right now, and their goaltending is all over the place. So I think it's going to be weird, but I think Toronto's going to need to lean on their rookies, which shouldn't be the case on offense, but I think they're going to need to, and I could see them having a big night against a struggling San Diego defense and especially their goaltending. So I think I just trust Toronto in general a little bit more than San Diego right now, but I could see that one going either way.
Sabres are up 2-0 into the second. We'll move on to the Saturday games. Buffalo already starts it, but this is where the people start agreeing with me. Saturday, 7 p.m., 2-2 Halifax. That record's going to be different on Saturday versus the 1-4 Oshawa. Phil took Oshawa, even though he said he would never take Oshawa. Halifax for me, Halifax for the people, 81%. I just don't trust Oshawa whatsoever. I trust Halifax more. Even if Halifax gets into penalty trouble, I do not see Oshawa being able to capitalize it. I think Ottawa let them in the game far too much from outside shots. I do not think it was a very good game from Zach Higgins. Oshawa's allergic to get into the middle and the dirty areas, and I do not see that changing against a Halifax team that likes to push the limits. So I think Oshawa is... I don't know if they get to 10, to be honest. They've only done it, 2 other times, so I don't like Oshawa on this one whatsoever.
Wow, all right, well... PK's just ripping
now everybody's coming
apart.
after me from Oshawa. Sorry.
No, this game, everything you just said makes sense. I think Oshawa proved that they can score. I like you said, I think a lot of it was from the outside. I don't love, even though they put up 14 that game they just played, but their defense and goaltending was one of the best in the league until that last game. And Halifax's offense has been just as bad as Oshawa's was. So to me, it's going to come down to which goalie shows up, which defense shows up. I don't think either offense is going to show up, but Oshawa is extremely good at baiting. And like you said, I think they can get Halifax into a lot of power play trouble. And on top of that, Oshawa's in a very, very desperate situation. They're 1-4 to start the season. They need to win. This is a desperation play. It'll be Halifax's second game of the week and second game of the weekend, and they're traveling for both of them. So Halifax could just be, I know they're not traveling far apart for both games, but they will be on the road for 2 games, and I could see Oshawa just in a desperation play sneaking that one out.
2-1 Sabres. Last game, so many games. 2-2 Colorado, 2-2 Georgia. Phil took Georgia. Me and the people took Colorado, the people at 87%. Although we did get bad news that Ryan Lee is done for the season. It sucks, man. A player like
really
him...
does. I like him so much, too.
He's such a good player on the field. He's such a fun watch. It just overall sucks. But in this game, while I do think one of, if not the best goaltender so far this season in Brett Dobson is in between the pipes, you got to go with Colorado, for me at least, with Jack Hanna, with Will Malcolm. It seems like Jack Hanna just infused something else into that lineup. I am worried about Colorado being able to score, but I'm also worried about Georgia being able to score as well. So I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think the first one in 9 is probably going to take it.
Yeah, Georgia and Colorado just played a few weekends ago. Georgia won 12-3. Yeah. I could see, I don't think it'll be that lopsided again, but like you just said, losing, if they had Lee, I'd have more faith in Colorado in this game, but I hate picking Georgia because I really don't like them as a team, but I could see Colorado just not having enough against Dobson, who's looked ridiculous. And again, just held this offense to only 3 goals when they had Lee and no Hanna, but now you have Hannah and no Lee. So I could see them putting up a similar game. I don't think they'll hold them to 3. I think it'll be close, but I think Georgia will do just enough to win a low-scoring, boring game like they often do.
All I will say is Jack Hanna and Will Malcolm, please be careful, because everything that we see from Colorado, their players can't stay healthy. It's insane. Last year, every player
that offense,
dropped.
if Lee was healthy, like the whole season, just that.
Lee was healthy and McLaughlin is coming back too. Like that offense, it could make me look silly for not picking them to make the playoffs, but it's leaning that way again. But that wraps up this episode. Next episode, we got the Bills game to review. Sabres 2 games. Come on, 3-game winning streak. You're up 2-0 or 2-1 right now, and we'll go over week 7 in the NLL with 7 games to go over. Plus, we'll kick the show off with Bandits.
Amount of Friday games.
Yeah, it's insane.
Friday games. Everyone's playing Friday.
More spaced out, guys. The week where they had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday games. Chef's kiss. Bandits versus Nighthawks. If you're in Rochester, wave at me up in the box. I'll be there. I'll be having a fun time. First away game for the BSC to cover the Buffalo Bandits. It will be interesting. But that will wrap up this episode. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Buffalo Sports Collective. Thank you to Tap That Tap Room for sponsoring this episode and this podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. Milestones will be there. Visit our website at buffalosportscollective.com. Follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure you leave us a review on Apple and Spotify. Good luck, everybody out there, and good luck to the Bills in the playoffs. Until next time.